Every single day you touch it, wash it, moisturize it, worry about it. But if someone stopped you right now and asked, what exactly is skin? Could you actually answer that? Most people describe skin as this outer covering, a wrapper, something that just sits there and protects what's underneath. And that's not wrong, exactly, but it's incomplete in a way that changes everything about how you think about skincare. Because skin isn't a wrapper, it's not even really a single thing. It's your body's largest organ, and it's doing more work right now than almost any other part of you. By the end of this video, you're going to understand skin the way it's actually built, layer by layer. And once you see it this way, a lot of confusing skincare advice is going to start making a lot more sense. This channel, Skin Health Authority, exists for exactly this reason, to take skin science and make it understandable, without hype, without fear, and without anyone trying to sell you something along the way. So today, we're starting at the very beginning. We're going to walk through the 3 recognized layers of skin: the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis. Not in a clinical textbook way, but in a way that actually helps you picture what's happening under your fingertips right now. By the end, you'll understand why some skincare claims about deep penetration deserve a raised eyebrow, why your skin can look fine on the surface while something underneath tells a different story, and why almost everything else on this channel, barrier health, aging, hydration, traces back to this one idea. This is the layer you're touching right now. It's the outermost layer of skin, and it's remarkably thin. In most places on your body, it's roughly as thick as a sheet of paper. And yet this thin layer is doing an enormous amount of work. The epidermis is made mostly of cells called keratinocytes. Think of them like bricks being made at the bottom of a wall and slowly pushed upward as new bricks form beneath them. Cells are born at the base of the epidermis, and over roughly a month they migrate upward, changing shape and function as they go, until they reach the very top as flattened, tough cells that eventually shed off. This process is often called cell turnover, and it's happening on your face right now, whether you notice it or not. The very top of the epidermis has a specific name, the stratum corneum, and this is essentially your skin's outermost shield. It's made of those flattened dead cells, held together by lipids, or fats, in a structure researchers often compare to bricks and mortar. The cells are the bricks. The lipids are the mortar, holding everything together and keeping moisture in. This is also where melanin, the pigment that gives skin its color and helps protect against UV damage, is distributed. So when we talk about sun protection, dark spots, or hyperpigmentation later on this channel, we're talking about processes that live right here in the epidermis. Beneath the epidermis is a much thicker layer called the dermis. If the epidermis is the protective shield, the dermis is more like the support structure, and it's significantly more complex. The dermis contains collagen and elastin, 2 proteins that give skin its firmness and its ability to stretch and bounce back. Collagen is often compared to scaffolding, while elastin behaves more like a rubber band. Together, they're a big part of why youthful skin tends to look plump and springs back quickly when you press it. This layer also houses blood vessels, nerve endings, hair follicles, and glands, including sweat glands and sebaceous glands, which produce the oil, or sebum, that plays a role in keeping skin from drying out. This is also where your sense of touch really lives. Every time you feel a light breeze, a rough texture, or a change in temperature, nerve endings in the dermis are doing that work. Because the dermis contains blood vessels, it also plays a role in delivering nutrients and oxygen to the skin, and in regulating body temperature, which is part of why your skin can look flushed when you're overheated or pale when you're cold. The deepest layer is called the hypodermis, sometimes referred to as the subcutaneous layer. This is mostly made up of fat cells and connective tissue, and its main jobs are insulation, cushioning, and energy storage. This layer is why skin isn't just sitting directly on muscle and bone, it's cushioned, which helps protect underlying structures from everyday bumps and pressure. It also plays a role in regulating body temperature by acting as an insulating layer, and it helps anchor the skin to the tissue and muscle beneath it. So when you put all 3 together, what you actually have is a 3-part system: a protective shield up top, a support and sensory structure in the middle, and an insulating cushion underneath. And every one of these layers is constantly working, repairing, regulating, sensing, protecting, largely without you ever thinking about it. Now that we understand the actual structure, let's talk about where this gets misunderstood because a lot of skincare marketing leans directly into these misconceptions. Myth 1 is, this product penetrates deep into the skin. You've probably heard some version of this claim on packaging or in ads. It sounds impressive, but it's worth pausing on. The outermost layer of the epidermis, the stratum corneum, exists specifically to control what gets in and what doesn't. That's its entire job. Most topical skincare products are formulated to work primarily at or near the surface, within the epidermis. Claims about reaching deep into the dermis should generally be viewed with healthy skepticism, since the barrier is designed to be selective about what passes through it. Myth 2 is skin is basically one layer, and it's either good or bad. Because we only ever see the outermost surface, it's easy to judge all of skin health based on that top layer alone. But since skin is a layered system, what you see on the surface can be influenced by things happening deeper down: hydration levels, oil production, blood flow, inflammation. This is part of why the same visible concern, like dullness, can have very different underlying contributors from person to person. Myth 3 is skin doesn't really change day to day. Because cell turnover in the epidermis is a continuous process, cells being born, migrating, and shedding on a roughly monthly cycle, skin is genuinely never in a completely static state. Many people experience noticeable differences in how their skin looks or feels from week to week, and that's consistent with what we know about how dynamic this process actually is. So what does this actually mean for how you think about your own skin? First, understanding that skin is a layered system helps explain why skincare isn't about getting product deep into skin, as much as it's about supporting and maintaining the outer barrier, since that's the layer most products are realistically interacting with. Second, it explains why healthy-looking skin depends on more than surface-level habits. Things like hydration, circulation, and even sleep can influence the deeper layers, the dermis and hypodermis, in ways that eventually show up on the surface. Third, it's a good reminder that skin is genuinely an organ, not just an appearance. It protects you, senses your environment, regulates your temperature, and repairs itself continuously. That reframing alone can change how much pressure people put on themselves over short-term bad skin days, since so much of what's happening is structural and ongoing rather than something to panic over. That's the three-layer structure of skin: the epidermis on top, the dermis in the middle, and the hypodermis underneath, each with its own job, all working together every single day. Understanding this is genuinely the foundation for almost everything else we're going to cover on this channel, because once you know how skin is actually built, ideas like the skin barrier, hydration, aging, and pigmentation start to make a lot more sense. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing to Skin Health Authority for more evidence-based skin education, explained clearly and without the hype.